Welcome back to the Bad Influence podcast where we teach you why comparison is bad for you. I'm the bad influence that you need in your life, Bjordan Banderas. How many times today do you catch yourself comparing where you're at with where someone else is? It's a small voice, right? That little voice that whispers, "You're not moving fast enough. You're not as successful, not as smart, not as put together." Sound familiar? Trust me, I know it does. Today's episode is for anyone who feels like they're constantly coming up short because they're stuck in this game of comparison. Here's the brutal truth. If you feel like a loser, it's probably because you're looking at everyone else like they're competition. And guess what? That's a battle you're never going to win. We're going to talk about why you need to quit this toxic game, how to shift that mindset, and what it actually looks like to compete only with yourself. I'm here to tell you, cutting off that need to compare yourself is one of the most liberating things you can do in your life. Imagine feeling proud of where you're at, not because you're ahead of anyone, but because you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That's what today's episode is all about. So, if you're ready to break free from this exhausting, endless competition, buckle up. This is the Bad Influence Podcast, and we're diving deep into the illusion of competition and how it's holding you back from the life you could be living. Ready? Let's go. Let's talk about the comparison trap, because it's a trap, believe it or not. You know what I'm talking about. That constant feeling of not measuring up. You see someone's new job, their relationship, their perfect vacation photos, and suddenly, whatever you were feeling good about, out the window, right? Now you're doubting yourself, questioning if you're doing enough, or worse, if you're enough, right? That has happened to me. It's so easy to fall into this trap, especially with social media, where everyone's showing off their highlight reels, right? Everyone is showing you their best life on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You're constantly fed this narrative that everyone else is killing it while you're still trying to figure it out. And that right there, it messes with your head. It creates this illusion that you're somehow in competition with everyone else when really you're not. But here's the thing. This constant comparison isn't pushing you forward. It's holding you back. It's making you feel inadequate, anxious, and like a perpetual loser. And the worst part is that no matter how hard you try, you're never going to win this competition because it's all in your head. It's a vicious cycle, and it's time to break out of it. So today, I'm going to show you how to stop competing with everyone else and start focusing on the only competition that matters. Becoming a better version of yourself. Look, I'm not immune to this either. Like I said, I've done this. I used to get caught up in the same trap. When I first started out working, I look at other people who were doing similar work and think, why are they ahead? Why are they getting opportunities that I'm not? I spent so much time obsessing over what others were doing, feeling like I was behind, feeling like I was a failure because I wasn't keeping up. And it got worse when I went on social media. I'd see this post from people who seem to have it all figured out, and it would crush me. I started doubting myself, thinking I'd never be able to reach that level. I see their success as my failure, and that's a dangerous mindset to have. But here's what happened. I was so busy looking at everyone else that I forgot to look at my own progress. I wasn't seeing the strides I was making, the wins I'd had. All I could see was how far I still thought I had to go because I was measuring myself against someone else's journey. It wasn't until I took a step back and decided to focus on myself that things started changing. And that's what I want to help you do today. Stop looking at what everyone else has and start looking at what you're building. Here's the deal. Comparison is toxic. It sucks the joy out of your achievements and it keeps you constantly focused on what you don't have instead of what you do have. And the craziest part, it's completely unnecessary. No one's life, journey, or success is the same as yours. So why are you comparing yourself in the first place? When you're constantly comparing, you're not living in the present. That's something that I learned. You're not appreciating your progress, your wins, or even the lessons you're learning. Instead, you're always looking over your shoulder, worried about who's ahead, who's doing better. But let me tell you this. You're running your own race. No one else is on the same path as you. And if you keep looking at what others have, you're going to miss out on the incredible things happening in your own life. This mindset of constant comparison keeps you stuck, feeling like you're never good enough. And ultimately, it leads to burnout and frustration. Breaking free from this is about shifting your focus. It's about understanding that the only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. So, how do you break free from this endless cycle of comparison? First, you've got to realize that your journey is your own. It's not the same as mine. It's not the same as your partner, your kids, your friends, your coworkers. No one else has lived your life, faced your struggles, or walked in your shoes. What works for someone else might not work for you, and that's okay. You don't need to measure up to anyone else's standards. When I stopped comparing myself to others, I finally started to feel free. I started to appreciate my journey, my growth, and my wins, no matter how small. And let me tell you, that sense of freedom, that sense of freedom, it's priceless. I can tell you that. Because it allows you to see your own progress, to be proud of where you are, and to look forward to where you're going. So take a look at your life. What have you accomplished? What are you proud of? Focus on those things. Forget about what anyone else is doing because their success doesn't take away from yours. This is about you. It's about finding joy in your own journey and realizing that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. When you stop looking at what everyone else has, you can finally start appreciating what you have. All right, so let's talk about some steps you can take to shift this mindset. First off, and I know this is gonna be hard for a lot of you, just like it was for me, start practicing gratitude. It sounds simple. I know it does, right? But trust me, gratitude is powerful. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be huge, but they should be meaningful to you. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. Second, set goals that are personal to you. Forget about what anyone else is achieving. What do you want? What matters to you? Set goals that make sense for your life, not someone else's. By doing this, it keeps you focused on your own path, not anyone else's. Third, celebrate your wins, no matter how fucking small. Too often, we brush off our accomplishments because we think they're not big enough compared to what someone else is doing, which is part of the trap. That's what keeps you inside that fucking mind trap. But every win is worth celebrating because it's part of your progress. And finally, remember that growth takes time, sometimes years. It could be a few days, a few months, a few weeks, sometimes years. For me, it took quite a long time, a few years. I would say like 5. For me to get to a point where I was like, damn, I'm growing. Now, here's the thing. Just because you're not where you want to be yet doesn't mean you're not moving forward. Focus on your growth, not on how fast anyone else is moving. This is your journey, and you're exactly where you're meant to be. To make this shift easier, here are some tools that can help you. Start by setting boundaries on social media. I know, that one is gonna be hard. It was hard for me. So freaking hard. But here's the thing. You have to limit the time you spend scrolling. And if there are accounts that make you feel bad about where you are, unfollow them. You're in control of what you consume. Next, keep a journal. Write about your progress, your wins, and what you're learning. This is actually going to help you stay grounded in your own journey and reminds you of how far you've come. It's easy to forget our progress when we're focused on what's next. So take time to reflect. Take time to enjoy your wins, right? Another tool, this is something that I have talked about quite a lot in the last few episodes, meditation. Meditation helps you stay present and focus on the here and now. It quiets that voice in your head that's constantly comparing and helps you find peace within yourself. Last but not least, surround yourself with people who support you, not people who make you feel like you're constantly competing. Find people who celebrate your wins, who lift you up, and who remind you of how far you've come. All right, here's the bottom line. You're not in competition with anyone. The only person you should be focused on beating is the person you were yesterday. If you feel like you're losing, it's because you're playing the wrong game. This isn't about anyone else. This is about you, your journey, and your growth. Comparison is a thief. It robs you of joy, of peace, and of self-confidence. But the good news, you have the power to stop it. You have the power to shift your focus and start living life on your own terms. And when you do that, when you stop caring about what anyone else is doing, you'll finally feel free. So my challenge to you for today, for this episode, is to let go of the need to compete. Focus on yourself, on your journey, and on your growth. Celebrate your wins, be proud of your progress, and keep moving forward. You don't need anyone but yourself, and that's enough. And if somebody, because there's always going to be that one person, if that somebody tries to bring you down, to tell you that you need to compete, to tell you that you're not good enough, that person tries to put that voice back in your head, cut them off. Cut them off. It doesn't matter if it's your family. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend. Sometimes, unfortunately, it can be your spouse. So if that's the case, you're going to have to set boundaries. You're going to have to set some rules. You're going to have to probably cut them off. Because this is for you. This is your life. This is your journey. And it is for you to make your life grow. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to tell you how to do it. But all you can do is focus on what's in front of you. Take step by step. Don't rush. That's the other thing. Don't rush. Just take it slow. Create your own life. Don't compare. Don't compete. Build your life. And that's it for today. If you found value in this episode, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Remember, life isn't about beating anyone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. So keep growing, keep pushing, and don't let the illusion of competition hold you back, and have a great day.